India. It's a perfect day here today, not a cloud in the sky. And you had a look at the pitch a little earlier, Jim. How was it?
Good morning, everyone. A tough call. Perhaps a good toss to lose. Well, that's the state of the pitch. Back to you, Richie.
Srinath has the new ball for India. That's the first boundary for Gilchrist. It's straight at a Gurkha. Well held.
India, an early wicket like that can be crucial. Now we'll see how the batting team respond.
Gilchrist goes for only 4.
That's a long walk back when you haven't scored many runs.
Ponting is the new batsman for Australia. Srinath has picked up the first wicket of the match. .49 overs are left for Australia. So they need 301 to win from 300 balls. That's a superb shot. That's the first boundary for Ganguly. It's beaten the fielder, but it won't go all the way. Bevan cuts that off. So they need 295 to win from 298 balls. .295 runs wide. Nice shot. Make the boundary. Fielded down a fine leg by Warne. 49. Overs are left for India.
This is an ideal start when chasing a large boat, but they must keep up the momentum.
Lee, the beginning of a new spell. The run rate stands to just under 5.5 and over. Oh, nearly bowling him. Really shattered the stump that one. Now we'll see how the batting team respond. Ganguly goes only 7. Laxman is the next batsman in. Lee takes the first wicket with the innings. One for 7. Laxman waiting at the striker's end.
India will be looking to take full advantage of the early fielding restrictions by scoring some quick runs.
McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. That's the first runs of the day for Tendulkar. India move on to 8. Well, that'll certainly beat the fielder into the fence. That's the first boundary for Laxman. Laxman waiting at the striker's end. Stopped by Harvey. That was an athletic stop by the keeper. India are 1 for 12. McGrath to Laxman. Yes. 47 overs are left in the innings. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. They have 47 overs to get to 8-9. Lee at the start of his run-up. Well, that's found the gap in the field. Laxman facing. Out, he's caught him.
Great catch. That sort of thing can turn the course of a match.
So then, that's the end of Laxman.
Well, he didn't get many out there.
The next batsman is Dravid. Lee gets his second wicket. India 2 down now for 13. .287 runs required. Those are the first runs for Dravid. 2 now for 15. The batsman was in trouble with that delivery.
Lovely ball. It bounced a little more than normal and had the batsman in trouble. India are not pacing themselves very well here. They will suffer later on unless they keep close to the required run rate.
McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. They have 46 overs to get. 286. Dravid waiting at the striker's end. Hit straight to a fielder. McGrath at the start of his run-up. That's the end of the 5th over. Lee to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Dravid is now facing. Two now for 16. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. .285 runs required. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Hayden just picks that up inside the rope. Great take by the wicketkeeper. McGrath to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Great shot by Tendulkar. That's the first boundary for Tendulkar. The total is now 2 for 22. It's straight to a fielder. That's gone high in the air. That takes him into double figures. 2 now for 26. That's racing away for 4. He found the gap with precision.
That was a beautiful front foot shot. The timing was spot on.
McGrath is back in the attack. The batsman will have to run these. So there was 12 off that over. Lee to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. Tucked off his legs. He's going to have to move here. Never looked like being a run there.
What a piece of fielding. His pick-up and throw were instantaneous.
Dravid makes his way back to the dressing room.
Well, he didn't get many out there.
Sehwag comes in at number 5. That's cleared the rope. 6 runs. They'll be looking for that ball for days.
Well, you can't set fields for shots like that. That's brilliant.
It's straight at Martyn. Stopped by McGrath. McGrath to begin a new over. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. It's straight at Martyn. 264 runs required. Tendulkar facing. Yeah. 264 runs required. We're about to see the first bowling change. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Great take by the wicketkeeper. They have 41 overs to get. 263. Martyn to Sehwag. That's straight up in the air. Sehwag moves into double figures with those runs. 259 runs required. Stopped by Lee. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That's a good shot. That really was excellent timing.
The bowler needs to avoid giving away boundaries, so he must keep it tight.
That's the end of the 10th over. McGrath to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. McGrath to Tendulkar. He's worked that into the gap. The score is now 3 for 47. Hit straight to a fielder. Ponting is not going to reach that. Gave that some fearful hammer.
The square drive is a tremendous shot. That was hit with great power. 4 all the way.
That brings up the 50 for India. The fielder will cut that off. Stopped in the covers. Martyn to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. A long hop and punished. Sehwag has now moved into the 20s. They have 39 overs to get. 245. Martyn continues. That's 4 more. That was perfectly struck.
That was a good shot. He saw it early and got into position quickly.
Martyn at the start of his run-up. So they need 239 to win from 230 balls. India move on to 63. Martyn continues. This over is proving rather costly to Australia. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Bevan sprinting along the boundary. 38 overs are left for India. McGrath to begin a new over. The run rate is around 6 and over. India 366. McGrath at the start of his run-up. So they need 335 win from 266 balls. McGrath at the start of his run-up. He's working that into the gap. The score is now 3 for 67. McGrath to Sehwag. He's working that into the gap. The total is now 3 for 68. Should be some runs here. Tendulkar has now moved into the 20s. Great job done by the fielder in the deep. He's going to have to move here. 37 overs are left in the innings. Martyn to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Three for 71. That could be a very painful blow. Martyn to Tendulkar. Hit straight at Harvey. Tendulkar is now facing. Martyn continues. Martyn continues. Well held.
Well, he just picked the fielder out perfectly with that shot.
Tendulkar is finally out for 21.
He got himself settled and then gave his wicket away. He'll be disappointed with that.
The next batsman is Badani. Martyn gets his first wicket. 36 overs are left for India. The new batsmen won't face for the time being. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. They have 36 overs to get. 226. That's cleared the infield. That's the first boundary for Badani. Badani is now facing. Hit straight to a fielder. India move on to 79. He's worked that into the gap. He looked as if he was home to me. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. They have 35 overs to get. 220. India have taken their total on to 4 for 81. The fielder will cut that off. Four for 82. Sehwag is now facing. That was an athletic stop by the keeper. Now for 84. McGrath to bowl to Badani. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. That's a great shot. That takes him into double figures. India move on to 88. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Martyn out at long on. 212 runs required. The fielder will cut that off. Badani facing. Stopped by Hayden. McGrath at the start of his run-up. Play it away with comfort. .33 overs are left for India. Martyn to begin a new over. The run rate stands at just under 6 and over. Well, that's found the gap in the field. Sehwag is now facing. Martyn to Sehwag. That's cut behind square. Ten runs came from that over. McGrath to bowl the last of his allotted overs. Now the run rate stands at just over 6 and over. McGrath continues. Steered expertly into the gap. Sehwag is now on strike. Short and cut away for 4 by Badani. Badani has now moved into the 20s. 194 runs required. Badani waiting at the striker's end. .31 overs are left for India. They have 31 overs to get 191. Martyn at the start of his run-up. The batsman will have to run these. India move on to 111. Badani facing. So they need 189 to win from 184 balls. Looked as if he was home to me. Sehwag facing. Hit straight to a fielder. I think he was easily back in the crease there. That's the end of the 20th over. We're going to see the off-spin of Simons. The required run rate is around 6 and over. Well, the fielder's not going to cut that off. That's a real textbook shot.
There's a perfect example of how to play that shot. He deserved 4 runs for it.
So they need 183 to win from 178 balls. Pushed into the gap. Great piece of fielding. Stopped by Bevan. 29 overs are left for India. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. Ouch, that must have hurt. Now 4 and 21. Badani waiting at the striker's end. That was an athletic stop by the keeper. The batsmen are after 2.
There are stricter rules on wides in one-day cricket, so you need to be careful not to drift down the leg side.
The score is now 4 for 126. Excellent bowling by Martyn.
Good bowling. Bring the batsman forward and make him play.
Simons to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Simons continues. Steered expertly into the gap. For all the way. In good form out there.
That was an excellent shot. Very exciting to watch.
Hit straight at Bevan. Simons at the start of his run-up. Pushed into the gap. Well, let's take a look at the scorecard. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. 168 runs required. $167 runs required. Badani is now on strike. It's right at the head. Very good over. Only two off in the end. Simon to begin a new over. Required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Play it away with comfort. He's got it into the gap. Simon's at the start of his run-up. I think he was easily back in the crease there. Hit straight to a fielder. That's the halfway mark, 25 overs. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. He's worked that into the gap. The batsmen are coming back for a second. Hit straight at Simons. Harvey at the start of his run-up. Stopped in the covers. It's in the air. Really looks in fine nick today.
Fantastic shot there. He knew it was four as soon as he struck it.
We're about to see a change in the bowling. The run rate stands at just under 6.5 and over. A long hop and punished. Really can't afford to pitch short on this track.
That came right out of the meat. Excellent shot.
They have 24 overs to get. The score is now 4 for 148.
Yes.
Martyn to bowl to Badani. Batsmen are coming back for a second. Stopped by Harvey. India move on to 154. Badani is now on strike. Harvey at the start of his run-up. The required run rate is around 6 and over. There should be some runs here. Four for 158. Hayden reaches it before it crosses the boundary. Badani is now facing. Badani played that really well.
That was a pretty quick bouncer, and the batsman looked very uncomfortable.
Hit straight to a fielder. 22 overs are left in the innings. Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. The required run rate has crept up to around 6 and over. Martyn continues. He's got hold of that one. 4 runs. The crowd are standing and applauding. That's a great moment for him. Sehwag has scored 50 off 70 balls. That's a big appeal. 21 overs are left for India. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Not timed perfectly, but they'll get some runs anyway. Stopped by Lehman. They have 21 overs to get. 137. Harvey to bowl to Badani. It's in the air. That was beautifully turned off his legs for 4.
That was beautifully played. He was well over the top of the ball.
Ouch, that must have hurt.
Now ideally, he'll follow up that cracking bouncer with a Yorker.
That's the end of the 30th over. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. They have 20 overs to get, 132. Badani waiting at the striker's end. .129 runs required.
The extras total is really too high. They need to keep a tight rein on what they give to the batting team.
The fielder will cut that off. Hit straight to a fielder. Sehwag facing. There's a change in the bowling with the off-spin of Simons. The required run rate is around 6.5 and over.
Wait.
Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. The batsmen are looking for two. There's a mix-up with the batsman. India have taken their total on to 4 for 177. Batsmen will have to be more careful now, having got away with that. Sehwag is now facing. The fielder will cut that off. The batsman will have to run these. Simons has bowled 4 overs, no wicket for 18. We're going to see the leg spinner Warne. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. 4 for 179. The batsman will have to run these. India have taken their total on to 4 for 180. Sehwag facing. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. So they need 120 to win from 104 balls. Warne to bowl to Badani. Played into the gap. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. No. 17 overs are left for India. The required run rate has crept up to around 6.5 and over. Yeah. Sehwag facing. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. The batsman will have to run these. Now he needs to get his head down again and aim for the next landmark. That brings up his half century. Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. The required run rate has crept up to around 7 and over. Go! Australia are in the driving seat. The score is now 4 for 187. It looked as if he was home to me. Badani facing. That's 4 runs. He watched that onto the bat perfectly.
He plays that shot really well and it brings him lots of runs.
Nice shot, but it won't make the boundary. India taken their total on to 4 for 192. Sehwag waiting at the striker's end. He's worked that into the gap. That's the end of the 55th over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Played into the gap. They have 15 overs to get 107. Badani facing. is the leg side field. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. The required run rate has crept up to around 7 and over. Hit straight to a fielder. 4 for 197. Badani facing. It looks like the third umpire's being called on this one. India are 4 for 198. There it goes. That was well held. It was in the air a long time.
He had an eternity to think about that one. No wonder he put it down.
Badani is finally out for 58. That was a fine innings from Badani.
Well, he's played really well out there. He looked confident and was moving his feet really well.
Mongia comes in at number 7. Mongia takes guard. Hit straight to a fielder. 13 overs are left for India. We're about to see a change in the bowling. The required run rate has crept up to around 7.5 and over. They have 13 overs to get 103. That's straight up in the air. Certainly saw that one early.
Cracking shot. He's in great form.
India 5 for 202. So they need 99 to win from 75 balls. Harvey is back in the attack. Hit straight to a fielder.
Right.
12 overs are left in the innings. Let's take a look at how the innings has gone so far. Warne to bowl his leg spin. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Hit straight to a fielder. They have 12 overs to get 99. That's the first runs of the day for Mongia. So they need 98 to win from 70 balls. India move on to go 4. He's worked that into the gap. Pushed into the gap. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate has crept up to around 8.5 and over. Harvey is back in the attack. Didn't quite get hold of that one properly. India are 5 for 206. Pushed into the gap. Batsmen are after 2. The batsman didn't look at all comfortable there. The batsmen are looking for 3. There's a mix-up with the batsman. That's the end of the 40th over. Warne to bowl his leg spin. The required run rate has crept up to around 9 and over. They have 10 overs to get 90. Sehwag is now facing. He's got it into the gap. Ponting sprinting along the boundary. I think he was easily back in the crease there. India are 5 for 214.
Really good running there by the batsman. That can in turn force mistakes by the fielding team as they come under pressure.
That's gone high in the air, but it'll drop safely. required run rate has crept up to around 9.5 and over. Sehwag facing. Gone, caught.
That was a lazy shot. He'll regret that when he sees the replay.
Sehwag is finally out for 73. That was a useful innings by Sehwag.
Well, he's played really well out there. He looked confident and was moving his feet really well.
Gurkha is the next man in. Harvey gets his first wicket. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. That's the first boundary for a Gurkha. Harvey is back in the attack. Hit straight to a fielder. Well taken by Gilchrist. There it goes, and safe. 8 overs are left in the innings. The Gurkha waiting at the striker's end. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. They have 8 overs to get 80. Gurkha facing. That's a huge 6. We were diving for cover with that one.
What an effortless shot. Brilliant.
6 now for 58. That's straight up in the air. The Gurkha moves into double figures with those runs. There's a mix-up with the batsman. Mongia waiting at the striker's end. It's high in the air. 10 runs came from that over for India. Mongia waiting at the striker's end. The run rate stands at just under 10 and over. Superb shot. That takes him into double figures. It's in the air. That was still going up as it cleared the rope.
Another one of those, and this bowler could be out of the attack.
Now the run rate stands at just over 9.5 and over. It's high in the air. Martyn couldn't quite reach it. The batsmen are after 2. That's a great shot. Mongia has now moved into the 20s. Confident appeal. Not out. In my opinion, it wasn't out, but it was very close. Warne continues. There should be some runs here. Short and smash for 4. Warne is not impressed.
The bowlers really need to keep it tight at this stage of the match.
That's gone high in the air. Martyn couldn't quite reach it. That's the end of the 45th over. Harvey, to begin a new over, the required run rate is around 9.5 and over. There it goes. Oh. Gurkha has moved into the 20s and is starting to look far more relaxed. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. Out.
Excellent catch. The batsman can't believe he held on to that.
Gurkha goes for 20.
Well, they're through to the tail now and should tie up the innings quickly.
Khan is the next batsman in. Harvey gets his second wicket. India are 7 down now for 254. That's the first runs of the day for Khan. There it goes. Mongia really takes advantage of anything over pitch.
Oh, great shot. That was 4 from the moment it left the bat.
Harvey continues. Great take by the wicketkeeper. 4 overs are left for India. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. Well played, but the fielder will cut that one off. That's too short, and it's been dispatched before. That really was a super stroke. India move on to 6-4 at the start of his run-up. It's in the air. Had to make up a lot of ground there.
Superb stuff. What a catch. That'll give his team a huge boost.
India is finally out for 30.
You'll be kicking yourself about that dismissal. You really didn't play that very well.
Singh is the new batsman. gets his second wicket. India 8 down now for 6-4. Stopped by Ponting. Warne at the start of his run-up. Warne to Khan. Out!
It might have looked easy, but it wasn't.
Khan goes for only 2. Harvey to begin a new over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here. India are 9 for 265. Harvey at the start of his run-up. A cracking stroke. It's the first boundary for Singh. Harvey to Singh. Harvey to bowl to Singh. That's a great shot. He looks in good form out there.
Oh, great shot. That was 4 from the moment it left the bat.
Harvey to bowl to Singh. So there was 8 off that over. The required run rate is looking more and more out of reach here.
Wait.
They have 2 overs to get 28. Warne to Srinath. That has to be close. So to sum up then, Australia win by 27 runs. Well, let's take a look at the scorecard. Warne now has figures of 9 overs, 1 maidens, 4 for 44,